Hi, this is Bill from Lomita Feed doing an update on the heirloom tomato plants that we put in the ground here right about 1 month ago. So we've been giving them lots of water, they've been getting lots of sunshine, and they are doing pretty darn well, if I do say so myself. We have about 2.5 to 3 feet of growth per plant, of growth on every plant. And we wanted to give you just a couple of little tips. One tip is the manure that we use in here. Everybody has chickens now. The manure that we use is chicken manure, straight from the garden. Chicken manure is about 4 times higher in nitrogen. When added, when mixed into the soil or top dressed underneath the mulch, it adds a great fertilizer component. The other thing that we do is we top dress with straw, as we showed in the original video, and we allow that to break down. That prohibits evaporation, allows the water that you put on there to effectively reach down to the roots and do its proper job, which I think is obvious. The final thing is that we water, and we water at any time of the day. There's an old wives' tale that says that you should not get water on the leaves of your plants, and while if you can avoid it, that is better. So you don't want to water late in the afternoon where the water won't be able to evaporate off the plant and will be on it overnight. That can create mildew and fungus problems. But it's always much more important to water your plants. They will suffer a lot more from the effects of wilt, the negative effects of wilt, than they ever will from what's called the lens effect, which is the water droplets sitting on the plant and people thinking it will burn it. It will not. The water is going to evaporate long before it ever burns the plant. As you can see, we have no burnt plants and no negative aspects from watering them at any point in time. Always better to water in the morning if you can. Water gets down to the roots, you don't have the evaporation problem. But if you're worried about you get water on the leaves, don't. Water your plants, worry about wilt. Don't worry about them getting burned because there's water on them. These are, most heirloom tomatoes are indeterminate, which means that you can go ahead and pinch back the tomato at any point in time. Determinate tomatoes are generally the hybrids that you'll see at Home Depot or Armstrong, stuff like that. Those you don't want to pinch back because you can inhibit the growth. So what you generally want to do is in the middle of the branches there, this is called a sucker. And now some people will pinch that back to try and keep the growth under control, just like that. Other people will leave it. If you have the amount of room where you can have a 6 or 7 foot bush tomato plant that grows to maturity, I suggest you leave it. But since most of us are somewhat space constrained, you go ahead and you pinch that back, and that will help you to get keep it contained into a smaller area. It doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get more fruit, but you'll have a tomato plant that grows better into a smaller area. So we'll revisit this. We have a lot of tomatoes on here. They're hard to see. We've got little ones, we've got big fat ones, but we'll revisit this in about a month and let you see all the different varieties and show you the heights of them at that point in time. So from Lomita Feed, this is Bill saying happy sunshine gardening. Hi, this is Bill from Lomita Feed in our Sunshine Heirloom tomato garden. Just doing an add-on to the post that we just did, the update on the heirloom tomatoes. One other tip is that we're right here at the base of the Palos Verdes Peninsula. We have a lot of clay soils in the area, a lot of clay up in PV, some down here in Torrance. And a lot of people think that adding sand to the soil, because sand doesn't really break down, will help keep the soil friable. Never add sand to your soil. Always add an organic matter. You can add a ground cover bark, you can add compost, work it in. But sand is just another element of cement to go with the alkaline clay, and it's just going to make that soil even more dense and less friable. Water percolate through it with a lot more difficulty. So That's one tip I wanted to add on. Add organic matter, add straw is fine. I love ground cover bark. Your compost pile, work that in there, but never sand. And happy sunshine gardening.